What I'd like you to do now, if you wouldn't mind, and you can just keep this to yourself, is I'd like you to think about the two most dangerous things you've ever done in your life. Now, we all drive, and we all know statistically that driving is the most dangerous thing we do, other than going to the hospital. But not just driving. I want to know, like, how many of you folks here besides me have actually been behind the wheel of a car, you driving, it was going over 100 miles an hour on a voluntary basis? Yeah, pretty much every man's in the room just about there, right? Okay. Just curious, who are you texting? You weren't texting anybody at 100 miles an hour because we're not complacent at 100 miles an hour, right? Plus, at 100 miles an hour, I think you'd all agree, you got to be looking for cops, right? So it's no time for texting. But it could be also something like mountain biking down steep hills, driving a motorcycle, playing, a contact sport against a really tough team like hockey or football or something like that, lacrosse. Could be something, cliff jumping, cliff diving, skydiving, scuba diving, skiing, snowboarding, all that kind of stuff. Just think about the two most dangerous things you've ever done in your life, okay? And now if I could, I just want you to sort of go back and remember the two worst injuries you've ever had. And if you wouldn't mind, please put your hand up if those things match. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 400 people. Now, how many of you when you were growing up got told, don't do that, it's too dangerous, don't do that, it's too dangerous, don't do this, don't do that, that's too dangerous, that's too dangerous. How many of you got told at least 100 times, don't do that, it's too dangerous? How many like me got told at least 1,000 times? Okay. And yet, when you look at your two worst injuries, that's not where they came from. Now, think about those two worst injuries again, and if I asked you to rate your level of complacency on a scale of 1 to 10, how high was your complacency on those two worst injuries? Were you thinking about what you were doing, or were you thinking about something else? So, there's, if you will, sort of one of the first flaws in traditional safety management theory, where everybody focuses risk on the amount of hazardous energy instead of necessarily looking at the amount of complacency that might be there.